Welcome to another episode of Carolyn Talks Television. I'm Carolyn Topal, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Rachel Arnett.
Hello, everyone.
And we are here today to get you ready for summer. Now, we all know summer fun is outside, but summer viewing is also very important.
And it's gotten a lot better over the last few years.
Oh my God, yes, it has. And there are certain times to watch your shows, so you're not competing with the wonderful world of outdoors and taking advantage of the beautiful weather in Connecticut. And there's also the what to watch. Because I think summer lends itself to almost this polarizing, crazy balance of really serious stuff, and because you have time to get into it, because you're not thinking about the day-to-day grind and shoveling the snow and all kinds of other and how you're going to get up that over Avon Mountain to get to work or whatever, right? And the lighthearted, where you just want to be like, it's summer. I shouldn't have to do anything hard.
I think even people who work year-round, something about the summer, maybe it's just the extended day.
Oh, absolutely.
Our hearts are lighter. But
Without
like you're
question.
saying, we can absolutely, that's absolutely when I tend to watch my tougher stuff, because I have the emotional capacity to handle it.
Well, I would say definitely for educators who do not do summer, that it's a good advantage. But I think every single business tends to have this sort of lighter end to it during the summer months, because a lot of people take vacations.
That's true. Yep.
Especially people who do have children in their families. A lot of people, or even college students. I mean, when I say children, children of all ages.
37?
Works for me. Works for me. Everything works for me. So what I would like to suggest, though, is on those really hot days, and you know what I'm talking about, those oppressive HHH, hazy, hot, and humids. We've seen them. It's Connecticut. We get them at least once or twice every summer. That those are the best days for binge watching.
Oh, 100%. I'll go through 2 whole series if I have to. Anything I'll go out and I'll water my flowers, and that 10 minutes alone, if I come in drenched in sweat, it's a stay inside day.
That's right. And in climate-controlled environment that you don't have to pay extra for.
Yes.
Because we could always go to the movie theater as an alternate, but you actually do have to walk out the door to do that. I'm talking about you have your self-made icy drink and your TV remote, and you're good to go. But if you want to start with something serious, I'm not going to start lighthearted tonight. I'm going to start serious.
Okay. I am serious, too.
Truly serious. There is a show I recently discovered, and it's going to be on, of course, because it's on a streaming service. It's on Disney Plus. Now, I'm saying serious, and they're all like, she just said Disney Plus. What is she talking about? It was created by Nat Geo, interestingly enough, but on their history level. It's called A Small Light. A Small Light. Now, everybody's heard of Anne Frank. I would like to challenge someone to say to me, who is Anne Frank? We all know who the heroine, teenage heroine, who sadly passed during the Holocaust, was killed during the Holocaust, and was hidden. But not everybody knows Miep Gies, who was the person who took care of and hid the Frank family and the other folks who were hiding with them in their hidden attic rooms. This is the story of Miep Gies.
Wow, I did not know about this show.
And it's from her point of view, all the things that happened to her, her interactions with the Frank family, what happened to her before. Apparently, I didn't even know she was adopted. She ended up in the Netherlands as an adoptee.
Wow.
That alone just was like, she didn't even start in the Netherlands, which was amazing to me. And Otto Frank hired her as she was desperate to get a job because her parents wanted to marry her off. And he gave her a chance to learn, and she did. And after working with him for, I guess, what was probably close to a decade, she plotted with him to set up this attic hideaway. And each 1 hour, I mean, it's even less than an hour, each less than an hour piece of the series brings you further into the story, but it's not Anne Frank's story. It's Meep's story. There are other people she helped.
Okay, so I'm going to watch it now. I'm definitely going to watch it.
And her husband helped.
Yeah, we never hear about him.
I didn't even know she was married. I mean, she may have been, but it never dawned on me. So powerful. And there are times I am like gripping my chair, and I have studied Holocaust, watching what they on the other side went through to sacrifice. Fascinating.
A small light.
A small light. Right now, while it is still May and we're taping this, each episode airs on, I believe it's Wednesday nights on Disney+. Once they're all there, you'll just get to watch it all at once if you haven't started seeing it already. Really powerful. I would be surprised if it wasn't recommended for at least 1 or 2 Emmys. So now, maybe going to the lighter side.
Something lighter? Okay.
We'll have a little bit from Rachel.
Okay.
Rachel's lighter side. Here we go.
One thing I would say that I'm, even though it is a lighthearted show, I am kind of desperately sad that it is ending after the season.
Okay.
Produced by Mindy Kaling, Never Have I Ever, which is on Netflix, which is probably one of the most realistic shows that I have seen as someone who works in a high school of teenage lives. A certain type of teenage life.
Well, Never Have I Ever is a game I remember playing in high
exactly.
school, which you just creep me out. I'm like, is it truth or dare? Like,
no. So the whole purpose of the show and the premise of it initially is Davy and her friends come in as freshmen.
Okay.
And the show explores their friendship, their love lives, the pressures on them to begin engaging with others in a certain way.
Intimacy.
Intimately. Their self-pressure and what they feel is societal pressure. But they also talk about racism, and they talk about ageism and their parental drama and trauma. And I've just, and somehow it manages to be lighthearted and also like a mental illness component. But one of my favorite things about the show, so Davy is a young Indian student in California. Her inner monologue, her inner narrator is John McEnroe.
Oh my gosh.
And there are other characters that are, their inner monologues are also voiced by people like Andy Samberg, Gigi Hadid.
Oh my God.
And it's bizarre, but it works.
Okay, are these real students?
No, so this is a
this is fiction
comedy.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And it is...
So it's a sitcom, okay.
And it is honestly one of the... It's going to be like Broad City for me, where I'm devastated when it ends, because I want this character to exist in my life forever. But I also appreciate that they're ending now after her senior year, because certain shows like Glee that kept going, they stopped working for me. I think it's really, this is her high school journey and their high school journey. So I actually really love that they're staying true to that and ending it at senior year, because that's what this is about.
Well, we all remember where the show Jump the Shark started was with Happy Days.
Yep.
A zillion years ago, when they actually had Fonzie jump a shark.
Literally.
And everybody was like, why? This is stupid. You should have finished your show already.
Yeah. Some shows, the best thing that you can do for them is end them when appropriate.
That's right.
Wrap them up in a neat little bow and say, this was the story, this time period, and you're not stretching the writers to just continue to make things up. It's always been a very grounded comedy, and I think taking it beyond that, you'd have to deal with a whole new cast of characters.
And speaking of that, what an excellent segue. I do not want to not address, I don't want to skip addressing this. And I'm hoping by the time this airs, it's not a big deal, it's history. But we all know that there's a Writers Guild strike going on right now.
Yes, I'm very grateful that most of my shows made it through, but we also need to think about the fact that maybe our writers need to not be replaced with artificial intelligence.
Because we don't find artificial intelligence very intelligent, for starters. They're not nearly as funny and witty.
No.
And I will say, on top of all that, I truly support the writers in what they do, the human piece of them. And I understand that they're losing money because they used to get residuals on like repeats and stuff. But because of the way a streaming contract works, that's sort of not possible. So it's this flat fee system, but it's really low.
And it shouldn't be, because without the writers, there is nothing to act.
Well, without the writers, we are now watching Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers do the same jokes they did 3 months ago. Just saying, they're good jokes, but we heard them.
I mean, the last writer's strike gave us reality TV. So
please,
we need to
wrap this up.
We need to wrap this up really quick. I can't take another 7 Bachelors. I can't do it.
Oh my God, another 7 Bachelors and another Desperate Housewife neighborhood. Oh my God, please.
There's at least 4 now, and all I know is I'm driving through.
Yeah.
Going right through.
Well, I'm going to go now to something a little more lighthearted from my end of the viewpoint. This is on good old regular network TV, so if you're not plugged into anything but an outlet, you're going to get this on ABC, Jeopardy Masters.
My dad has started watching that, and he loves it.
I thought I'd hate it.
Yeah. Well, how can you improve on Jeopardy? You can't really. It's a different.
But I think they did the right combination. They didn't call it, the greatest of all time. They did that contest a couple years ago. And it was resolved. And it was Ken Jennings who won that battle, which I'm happy that it happened that way. Because now, as he is the host of Jeopardy for the normal evening programs, what they did was they brought him in to do the Masters shows. And they brought in 6 of the past, I would say, 3 years to 4 years worth of highest scorers who did not become the GOAT. And they're having basically, it's a miniseries. It's 12 episodes. That's it. 2 shows per episode. Normal Jeopardy shows, but with powerhouse people playing against each other, and the same people don't always win. I am thrilled. I have seen a variety of people. It shows 4 nights a week. I'm not sure which show they decided that they didn't want to preempt to make it 4 nights, but it's a 12-day series, so it'll end on a Friday. I am sure it's going to be on demand for a while because ABC couldn't pick a better on-demand series.
Yeah.
And I would go look for that. It's fun if you like Jeopardy and you like to be challenged and you like to revisit some of your favorite big winners.
Yeah. And it's nice to see them competing against each other, because then it's not just like them taking down this poor woman when they're on like a 27-day streak.
Yeah, exactly.
And, it's nice to see all of them at kind of their absolute best.
And everybody, I think each person is winning different games depending on the people that they have going against them. So it's been a real joy to watch, and I could see enjoying several of them in a row if it was a hot day. So if you haven't seen it, enjoy it. It's a good summer viewing piece. On demand it.
I will do that.
You do that. Now, do you have a serious one you want to go?
Okay. So the first, there's 2. The Bear, which is on FX, is about to start season 2. It feels weird to call it serious because it is serious, but it's also, again, like there are moments that are so real and so uncomfortable that you do laugh. Like they accidentally drug a party full of kids by putting Xanax in lemonade. And it shouldn't be funny, but the way in which it unfolds, you're sitting there and you're like, dear God, and you are laughing. But the premise of the
that
show,
uncomfortable
it's
laugh,
exactly
though.
it's uncomfortable. But then there are just some moments in the relationships between the characters that are genuinely funny. The premise of the show, if you haven't seen it, is a young chef who's a master chef comes back to his brother's restaurant, his family's restaurant, after his brother has died by suicide. And his goal in the first season
pretty serious, yeah.
It's pretty serious. And the goal in the first season is to save the restaurant somehow.
Okay.
The goal in the second season is a little bit different. And I don't want to, in saying what that goal would be, it would be a massive spoiler, so I'm not going to do that because it's still a pretty new series. But the actor who played Lip on Shameless, Jeremy White, plays Carmy, who's the main character. And it is honestly one of the best performances I've ever seen on TV ever.
Oh, wow, great.
And the way in which they write the show and film the show, there are these 10-minute scenes where they're just going. And it is, because it's filmed in a kitchen, it is high pace, high intensity. You feel like you're sweating with them as they're prepping 150 beef sandwiches. And it is just the most intense show that I've probably ever seen.
Now, this is on FX, which anybody can also get by plugging in your TV set.
Yep.
So that's great.
Which is very unusual for me, also, to be watching anything that's not a streaming network. It is worth it.
This has commercials unless you DVR it.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So once again, now we got 2 shows on normal network TV.
Yep. And then the other is season 3 now.
Okay.
Is The Witcher, and it's serious because it's a fantasy show that involves killing and dark magic and this and that, but it's because it's
a big genre
fantasy.
now.
Yeah,
That's
because
a big
it's
genre
fantasy.
now.
There's also always this little cheekiness, and this season is actually a big
The Game
deal.
of Thrones was about as intense as you could get. So I mean,
but there was still like a cheekiness to it.
Right.
And with this season, this is actually the last season that the main character will be played by, I forget his name, but he's also Superman. And it's a big deal because he was the reason the show came about. And he's going to be replaced by a Hemsworth.
Ooh.
And there's a lot of rumors about why it's happening or why it's not, but I am very much going to watch this season and not sure about future seasons. This is one of those shows where I almost wish they would wrap it up because sometimes when you change the actor, it just doesn't work in the same way.
But you can give it a try.
I can.
Give him a chance.
I gave Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman a try when they changed the daughter, so I can give this a try.
Okay.
I will.
We'll go. And then once again, this is a good time where if you want to have a night, the nights go late.
Yeah.
Before it's dark out, so you can start watching some of these intense things and not feel like, and now it's creepy in around my house.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's still light out, folks. So enjoy. Now I'm going to give you a serious thing that's on a cable channel.
Oh.
Turner Classic Movies.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I am.
I'm not going to lie, not a channel that I typically turn to.
Okay, and I am an old movie geek.
Yes.
Because I'm going to recommend 2 movies that are so long before my time that if anybody dares to challenge me, I would get really irritated with you. The first one, and these movies seem to be playing more often now. I think they realize people are curious about them because they're from such a different time. And both of them highlight one an outstanding male Oscar winner, and one an outstanding female Oscar winner. The Oscar winner, now he didn't win it for this particular movie, I don't believe, but Wuthering Heights starred Laurence Olivier. It was in 1939. Merle Oberon was the co-star. He did not want her to be. He wanted the love of his life, Vivian Leigh, to be, but in 1939 she was a little busy making another movie that did walk away with every Oscar that year, basically.
Every single award possible.
Which is why he didn't, I don't believe, get it, but don't quote me on that. He may have. I don't know who won for Best Actor that year?
In 1939.
1939. Well, I know who won for other things, but I
Yeah.
don't know who won for Best Actor. But Wuthering Heights, I believe that was Emily, it's one of the Bronte sisters wrote it. It's either Emily or Charlotte. It's got a lot of chapters. Wuthering Heights ends in the middle of the book.
It's one of those books that your child in school or you probably didn't read when it was assigned to you.
Yeah, well, it's a Gothic novel, like the Bronte sisters wrote.
And they can be hard sometimes to read through.
Yes. Well, Wuthering Heights ends midway through the book. It ends at a beautiful point. If you haven't seen it, it's a happy ending, a weird happy ending, though it's very bittersweet. It ends with two spirits going off together. But it's passionate, it's intense, and it adds this. If you have this feeling of summer romance, this is not summer romance, but this is romance at the height of when romance could be displayed on a screen. And I am amazed in some ways that 1939, this got on screen as many scenes as it did, because it got pretty dicey at times.
Pretty intense.
Very, very intense. And then my other one, and this is what the actress won Best Actress for, Joan Crawford and Mildred Pierce.
Oh, I think I've heard of Mildred Pierce.
Okay, and there's a remake of it Kate Winslet did as a miniseries just a few years ago.
Okay. Maybe
Which
that's
was
why I've heard the
outstanding.
name, but I've never seen it.
Mildred Pierce, powerful, working woman,
I like it already.
working, divorced, so out of character for the time, because it was the, I believe, early to mid-50s. Absolutely anything that was not, she's fighting to get a job. She ends up as a waitress and then ends up owning a food dining dynasty, basically,
Oh, very
a
cool.
restaurant dynasty, and gets involved with a not so nice man, and also, unfortunately, is the indulgent mother to the biggest brat on the planet, who is
I'm the biggest brat. I'm just kidding.
you wish you could be that spoiled. Nobody is that spoiled.
A little bit of a Veruca
And-
Salt situation.
Oh my God, to the point that the book reflects her even worse. They actually tone her down for the movie.
Yikes.
I'm not even going to tell you what she does, but Mildred tries to protect her until the end.
Okay.
Powerful movie, powerful performances. Powerful performances. Now, do you want to go back to some lighthearted? Because let's
Yeah.
finish our show. We have a couple more minutes to share with you, and
Oh.
so we're going to stick to light stuff.
Yes. So also on Netflix is the second season of Heartstopper. And Heartstopper was a
Bum, 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 bum.
massive, cannot be overstated how massive of a hit it was. It's based on a comic series created in England, and the Netflix show is based in England as well. It's at a boarding or an all-boys school in England, and it's the story of two young boys as they figure out what their relationship is to one another.
Okay.
One was outed at school a previous year, and the other becomes introduced to him, and so there's again, it's obviously
Yeah.
not a United States high school, but it's very grounded in kind of the current reality of what people's lives is. But it's so sweet and it's so wonderful, and even though there's drama and trauma, the parental figures, for once in a show with gay characters,
Yeah.
are fully supportive from the beginning. They say the right things.
They do the right things.
They say and do the right things. There's a solid friend group, and there's a trans character who's also incredibly beautifully supported. And
That's great.
it just makes you happy, even though there are moments where I absolutely kind of welled up because they're experiencing difficult things. There's always this foundation of like, this will be a happy ending.
Well, you didn't want it to be, it's not a fantasy,
Yeah.
but it's the funny side. I mean, the humor, it incorporates a
There's-
lot of
yeah.
the humor of life.
Exactly. The humor in the show is not contrived. It's very much, like we talked about in a couple episodes before, the truth in comedy.
Yeah.
Like, what is funny because teenagers are funny. And they say funny things. And they are clever and witty and do bizarre
and adults
things.
watching teenagers can get a good giggle because you know you were once them.
Yeah. And it
then
just is super sweet.
I'm going to give one last quickie on the lighthearted side. And this show, you are not going to believe, is lighthearted, but trust me, it's called White House Plumbers on HBO. It's the story of Hunt and Liddy, the two people who masterminded or participated in masterminding the whole Watergate scandal.
White House Plumbers.
White House Plumbers. And from the time that they are introduced and the building to what ultimately became Watergate, and there's a reason they were caught, let's put it that way, in the end, and everybody got their just desserts. These two guys, I can't even, Woody Harrelson plays Hunt.
Woody Harrelson, I'm sold.
There are...
honestly.
More one-liners. It's an all-star cast. I couldn't even get to it in my brain. There are more great one-liners in each episode than I know what to do with. And I'm sitting here laughing, thinking, why am I laughing at this? I lived through this. It was a terrible time in history. This is really funny.
Well,
These two clowns are really clowns. And at one point they are clowns. I cannot even begin. There's at one point they get in disguise and they disguise themselves as hippies. Trust me, White House Plumbers on HBO is worth.
Okay.
And it's on right now once a week, but it's of course HBO on
once
demand.
Once we hit the summer, it'll be. I like the series has always already
and
ended.
And it's an arc. I was going to say it's going to end. It's a limited series, which is great because know it's going. We know where it ends, folks. This is not a surprise ending. So enjoy your summers, enjoy viewing, and enjoy some really good climate-controlled entertainment.
Yes. Whether you're watching something serious or something lighthearted, you don't want to be sweating.
Have a good one. Absolutely. Bye-bye.